Universalis SMP. I'll be honest, this project was something I started working on in 2021, but not like working. I came up with the idea of the SMP in 2021. It was a really good idea. Everyone that I had mentioned it to was like, yo, this is sick. Can't wait for it to release. And then I made the builder server. I built a couple things, and one of my friends built a couple things, and then it fell off the face of the earth. But we're back. Better than ever. I have a build team. I have a music team. I have a graphics team. I got people. Okay, back then I didn't have people. It was just me and my little bitty brain, and I have a team now. So I'm very excited to get this project out to you guys. I'm very excited for the content that is going to be released around this SMP, and I'm very excited for you guys to see what the SMP is. Okay, the SMP is called Universalis SMP. I was thinking about changing the name to Oath SMP. That was a little bit of a spoiler, but there's something called Oaths in the game. But we'll get back to that in a little bit. The SMP, again, called Universalis SMP. The name doesn't have much like origin at all, but it does have a lot of incorporation into the lore. In the SMP, it is a conquesting SMP, which is very much mistaken for factions. But in my opinion, after playing factions in my Minecraft career, it's not really like what I'm aiming for. I'm aiming for the deeper dive into what that is, because factions is a lot of like just the base game. That's not what I want to go for. I want to go deeper into the concept, right? And conquesting is where that comes in. Conquesting is more centered around land control. It's more centered around group gameplay. It's more centered around building up your resources, team-based stuff, and stuff like that. So while there's a lot of like Minecraft players that like playing solo, you can still do that, to be fair. But like it's more centered and focused on cooperative gameplay and cooperative activities. Something huge that is going to be in the SMP that is not really in other SMPs that you see is land, like territorial land claiming and progressive like things like bosses and stuff like that. Conquesting is a lot more like territorial and like land claiming and stuff like that. But that's just the general basis of what the SMP is. It's just a conquesting PvP, PvE SMP. So there's a lot of bosses that will be fought. There's a lot of PvP that goes on, and there's a lot of downtime where people are just gonna be able to just like do whatever they want to do in the server. Because a lot of SMPs like they lack like a reason to be there after 2 weeks. That's why a lot of people play Minecraft and like get bored after 2 weeks, is because there's nothing like to do after a certain amount of time. You get in Minecraft, you get your resources, you build a little base, you fight the Ender Dragon, or you go to the Nether, sorry, you fight the Ender Dragon, and that's the game. After that, you probably build like 2 or 3 structures, and then that's it. That's boring. That's like repetitive, and like once you do that, you join another SMP, you stop playing Minecraft, you join another SMP, you stop playing Minecraft. And I want to change that by incorporating like everything that is incorporated into this server. There's going to be bosses, there's going to be more things to do than just the base Minecraft. And something that I've also implemented, you will not be able to just like, you know, speed run to end game. It's going to be very progressive. So there's always going to be a reason to come back and improve. The main difference between like normal Minecraft SMP and this SMP is the combat system. Pre 1.8 gameplay in Minecraft, you can legit just spam the left click button. That's how you fight, right? And that was peak. Okay, I liked back then when PvP was like that, but it's not like that anymore, because there's like cooldown, critting is different, axes have been like a bigger thing now, and it's whatever. It gets complicated. There's a mod that I've added into the SMP called Epic Fight, which completely overhauls the system of combat in Minecraft. It makes it more Souls-like, it makes it more RPG styled. There's parrying, guarding, blocking, abilities, all this other stuff that makes it way more immersive to fight things in the server. Fighting other players is gonna be crazy. Fighting the bosses, you can't just like go up there and just spam click, chug steak, and golden apples. That's just not what you're gonna be able to do. It's way more immersive, way more intuitive. It's something else. It's something else. And I'm excited to see what the players have to say about it, because once you get in there, you're going to be like, what the f? I'll give it a little leak. Enderman, the Enderman in the game, no karate. And I mean that quite literally. You're going to find an Enderman and it's going to do a back kick flip on you. Like it's just how bad the combat system like changes. It's so much more immersive, okay? It's fun. I'm vouching for it, and hopefully you guys like it. A lot of people might not like it, but yeah, that's one of the main mods that drastically change the game, make it a lot different than other SMPs. Another mod that changes the game is the mod I created. I made a mod that implements a lot of items that will incorporate into the SMP that change the game. Some items, you know, have interactions where you have it in your inventory and you die a certain way and it changes the item to make it a completely different item. Some items give you different abilities. Some items make you have slowness like 18, but it's for multiple purposes, which I'll go over in a second. But there's a lot of items that I added into the game that drastically change the gameplay. But yeah, the Konquest system I will touch on a little bit as well. Like I said, I don't really like the idea of factions. I like the idea more so of objective-based guilding. 4 kingdoms in the SMP. There's a kingdom of purity, which is basically the kingdom that wants everything to be not necessarily good, but good in their image, and it's called Elysium. That's the first kingdom that I added. Then obviously, whenever there's good, there's always bad. The corruption kingdom is called the Umbra kingdom. Oh my god, I can't speak. So Elysium, kingdom of purity. Umbra, kingdom of corruption. Then there's Solus, which is a neutral kingdom. I made that kingdom solely based on the amount of people that I know that play Minecraft and don't really like mess with the idea of, you know, all this combat, all this PvPing, all this like hostility and stuff like that. They just want to have peace. They want to be able to build their cool little builds. They want to be able to just mind their own business. That's what I made this kingdom for, because I want everyone to be like, you know, have their own place, have their own like, you know, style of Minecraft gameplay. So Solus is the kingdom of peace. Now, it's not excluded from the rest at all. Like, there are certain times where, you know, that kingdom will have to fight for their land and blah 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 blah. But their main objective isn't necessarily to go out and just cause drama with everyone else. And then there's the Purge. Initially, obviously, everyone knows what the Purge is, but this is called the Purge Guild, basically. And their objective is just to just go on all out warfare. They just want beef. They want action with everybody. They're fighters. Okay, that's all 4 of the kingdoms that are in the SMP. Each kingdom is gonna have 8 players. Each 4 kingdom has a deity, or deity. I don't want to like mess up the word. And a deity is basically, you know, a higher being in a sense. And there is going to be a lore event that kicks off the server where you'll see all 4 deities on a server and how the story of Universalis unfolds. That will be a content piece that will probably be either on each person's YouTube channel or on the main YouTube channel in general. However that comes down, it will be announced probably on Twitter or however else like that. But you will be able to watch how the server starts, how the server unfolds, how everything comes to be the way it is right now. And that's a little bit exciting. I'm excited to get that started up. The mod I made, I'll talk about that a little bit as well, is called the Oaths mod. As some of you have seen on the combat test, there are spells in the game. There's going to be spells in the SMP. Spells are very unbalanced in a sense. In terms of combat versus spells, if you walk up to someone with a sword in your hand and they have a spell book, best believe they don't have ranged spells, because it's very hard and tedious to fight against them. To combat that, I have implemented spells in a different way called Oaths. And basically, Oaths is something you can add onto your character. There are 12 different Oaths in the game. So it ranges from like Fire Oath, Ice Oath, Poison Oath, Void Oath, everything else like that, which those are the ways you get spells in the SMP. And like I said, those items that I modded, it's not going to be easy to get the spells in the game, because you have to do certain things which you don't know about. I'm not going to tell you about, because you have to figure it out in the game and watch that unfold. But you have to do certain things to get those oaths to be able to get those spells. So there's an extra layer of progression, which should be exciting to watch unfold, because it's not just like, oh, I have to feed a chicken seeds and I get my... No, it's a lot more intuitive than that. There will be a lot of deaths and a lot of experimental purposes to figure out how to obtain these abilities. And I'm not going to speak on any of it, because I want this to be as little hand-holding as possible. At the same time, I don't want you guys to be absolutely confused. So that's why I'm doing stuff like this and giving a little bit of information on the SMP. There's also going to be not necessarily a hierarchy, but the people that are considered deities in the server are going to be very drastically different from the people that are considered normal players. Like I said, there are going to be races in the game. Races aren't going to be anything crazy. You will not have an ability to throw ender pearls. You will not have an ability to phase through blocks. What I want the races to be, and what I have the races set as, they're game enhancing but not game changing. So you'll have stuff like maybe an extra heart or two and the ability to see at night, or you'll have stuff like poison immunity and underwater breathing, stuff like that. You'll have abilities like that and attributes like that, but you won't be able to just like, you know, spawn in TNT. Like that's not what I'm aiming for. Like the races in the game are going to be player enhancing, not player changing. Origins mod, it's technically is the Origins mod, but it's something I recoded to make it so that I can pull the damage attributes and make my own thing off of it. Also, I'm 50-50 on this. I might do a poll or something, but I'm thinking of adding vampirism as an attribute, not a race. Like you're not gonna be a vampire race, but you'll have your race and you'll be able to be a vampire version of that race in a sense. I haven't figured out if I want to add that yet. It's gonna be like a community decision if I want to code that or not, because like I said, this SMP is going to be community driven. It's going to be all the creators' mind behind the stuff that happens, the stuff you see, the stuff that gets publicized. It's not going to be like me telling you what to do, what not to do. I'm not going to be like, yo, don't touch this building, it's off limits. No, that's not going to be enjoyable for anyone. It's going to be a collaborative group thing. Deities are going to be very different from normal players. You will have your races and stuff like that. Obviously, deities are going to be a lot stronger than normal players. They are going to have something called a cryptic. And what cryptics are basically overpowered weapons. As a deity, you have to be able to defend your kingdom if it ever gets attacked. Like if someone wanted to one day directly attack your kingdom, your deity is going to be there to protect you. That deity is going to be overpowered. It's not going to be game breaking. It's just going to be a lot stronger than you would expect it to be. That does combat the ability to just get in the server and day one cause havoc. It does combat the ability to get into the server and try to like farm for yourself and do everything alone. I'm not going to talk too much about deities because you'll see it in the first lore event of the server. A lot of people did ask again, how do you join the SMP? It is invite only. I will be focusing in the future more so on creators. The start of the SMP, I'm just more worried about getting people in and making sure people have fun, making sure everything works. In the future, when we onload new people or have different like seasons, in my head, the way that seasons are going to work, some players are not going to be in certain seasons as they carry on because, you know, if someone wants to play and then all of a sudden like they can't play and stuff like that, we're going to need more members. That's where the invites and stuff like that come in. But after wave 1 and the future seasons, I'm going to be looking a lot more at who can come into the server and contribute something. Not necessarily like who wants to play Minecraft type thing, you know? Because I want this SMP to be, for it to have longevity, I want it to be a cool little project that everyone enjoys, that, you know, people that don't know about it can find out about it and they're like, yo, this is sick. I want to watch the creators in this or the content behind this and stuff like that. So that's how joining process is going to be in the future. The SMP isn't going to have much rules. Like I said, I'm not going to like force people to do stuff and not do stuff. It's still supposed to feel like normal Minecraft to everyone that is playing it. So it's going to be like just a Minecraft experience. It's not going to be, like I said, it's not scripted. Nothing is forced on anybody else. It's whatever the player decides to do. Like every creator, every player that is in the server is going to have their own story. So if you want to, if you're not in the server and you're looking at it from the outside and you join one person's stream and watch someone else's video, they're going to be two completely different experiences for you, but again, they're going to be on the same server. It's going to be like common sense things. Like obviously it's not like a role-free server, but it's not like I'm enforcing anything. I'm not doing any of that stuff. What I want to also build in the Universalis community is just like an area for people to just be creative and figure stuff out as we grow. Because obviously this server is not going to come out the gate and be like the most polished thing ever. It's going to progress hopefully into a bigger, better project, and that's my goal. Like I said, and like you've heard from the past however long I've been talking, I don't expect this to be a 2-week server, and I'm not going to let it be a 2-week server. It's going to be a lot bigger project than that. It's not going to be like all these other normal SMPs. Obviously, people are there to see the lore unfold, And that's what I want people to be here for as well. But I also want the people that are playing in the server to have a unique experience and a fun experience too. Not just like, you know, to be able to just mass spam stuff for click titles on YouTube and stuff like that. In terms of the date of the release for the SMP, that is still to be determined. There's a lot of stuff coming up personally that I have to deal with, and especially next like month, for example, like all the TwitchCon and stuff like that. I would hate to release the SMP and like half the creators that are on it go to TwitchCon and blah blah blah, don't have the time and stuff like that. So I'm still putting pieces together for the date, but the project itself is getting a lot more completed. The builders have been getting a little bit more active as well. The producer that I have, or the 2 producers that I have on the project, I've been in contact with them as well to just get stuff finalized and finished, and then the server will be up. Like I said, it's not going to be a 2-week thing. There's going to be progression in it. So it's going to be season 1 might be like 2 months or something, and then a new season release that's going to be a completely different area aspect of the SMP. Like, I'll even say this, as soon as you get into the server, or like for the first like week of the server, like you won't even be able to get into the nether because there's a lore event that unlocks the nether and stuff like that. Date to be determined. Socials will be getting a little bit more active as things progress. There will be a YouTube video just like describing everything I said, but making it look cooler, because you'll be able to visually see the things that happen in the SMP. You'll be able to visually see the content in the SMP. The explanation will be a lot better than, you know, just throwing stuff out there from things that I've explained and stuff like that. But yeah, that is just the general basis of Universalis SMP. Hopefully that sounds cool. It sounded cool to me when I made it. It sounds cool to a lot of people. So hopefully everyone else finds it exciting as well. But yeah, that's basically it.